Hey, folks, welcome to Affiliate Nerd Out. I'm your nerderator, Dustin Howes, spreading that good word about affiliate marketing. You're going to find me every Tuesday and Thursday here, 12:15 Pacific time on LinkedIn Live. So please put it on the calendar and stop on by to say hi. My guest today, Jim Nichols, is going to be here talking about big publishers, scrappy affiliates, and the David versus Goliath festival that we have going on in affiliate marketing. Jim, welcome to the Nerdatorium, sir.
Hey, I wish I could call myself a nerdinator or whatever your exact term was. I've been kicking around in affiliates since about 1999, so one of the first people there. I think my background's a little bit different than a lot of people in affiliate because it was never my entire focus for work. It was
Okay.
always like a little piece of what I did, and so what that I think makes me broadens my perspective a little bit about the industry. There's
All
lots of
right.
people who I think know more about the industry, but where I come from is how the world views it from the outside and how internally we can help people better understand the market.
Well, I mean, I came up with a nerd because I am a nerd. What do you call yourself, Jim?
Old.
Old?
No. I feel like I'm an OG of affiliate. I think I've been to like 17 affiliate summits, have done just dozens and dozens of programs in a variety of different industries from B2B to, of course, beauty, apparel, and, home goods. So big range.
Jeez. And look at this. Like, I barely introduced you, and we've already got questions coming in. We will get to them here shortly, Jim, but we want to finish with our introductions first. I don't want to be rude. Thank you for the question, whoever that was. We are going to have live Q&A, so please jump in there into the chats. If you'd like to be in Jim's seat and come be my guest here, go to dustinhouse.com/nerd and fill out a form and let me know what you want to nerd out about. And our question of the day for those audience members, we would love to hear from you. Are affiliate entrepreneurs being crowded out of the space of affiliate? Jim, hold your thoughts. We're going to get to them here shortly. But without further ado, Jim, who are you?
Well, I am a 30 plus year veteran of marketing. I actually got started in marketing pre digital. So that ages me a bit, but have spent most of my career working at agencies, but also on the publisher side and the network side. My most recent industry job prior to founding my little agency was as CMO for Partner Eyes. So, really trying to help
Oh,
increase the market share of that brand in the US and then grow its presence globally. Um, I think the key component of my career that's a little bit different than for a lot of affiliate is honestly I'm a big brand guy. I've worked with a lot of very large companies in large industries and have had to live the battle that we all have of getting senior marketing managers or senior marketing leaders to care about this industry and view it as more than a necessary evil or a sidebar to the marketing industry. So I hope that I've made a contribution there, and that's really my goal over the next several years of my life is to really elevate affiliate and the way that people think about it.
well, I really like what you're doing over there. You always have your finger on the pulse in this industry, and I appreciate every conversation that I have with you in the PMA. Like, we're both board members. We're both you, you're even more boisterous than I am out there about your opinions, and I love that about you. And I want to learn more about your company. Please tell us about exclamation marketing. First, name, origin story. How'd you come up with this?
Sure. I love marketing that's loud and brash, to be honest with you. I feel like the whole world thinks that people are watching for their next move. And the reality is, nobody really cares what you're doing. The only way to grab attention is to be loud and to make sure it resonates with that audience. And so to me, exclamation and that exclamation point really delivers on that. My
Oh,
business is what I call stratacution. So I spent a lot of my life doing strategy and go-to-market development for digital companies to help them position themselves in a world where everybody thinks everybody's the same. And what I mean by stratacution is, when I started in marketing, we would spend a year thinking about talking about doing something, or we would spend a year thinking about what we were going to do in the 1 30-second commercial we were going to produce that year. And
hmm.
there would be at an agency, there'd be like 8 of us in meetings for a year until the last 9 weeks before we needed to go live. And then we somehow had to scramble and shoot that ad. The world isn't like that anymore. The world can't wait for that. And so to me, it's like, let's get a strategy together in a couple of hours, get it executed, and see how the market reacts. If the market reacts well, great. If not, we start making changes. But I don't think there's any substitute for just being out there and letting people react to what it is that you're doing.
Oh, beautiful. And I love the word stratacution. That's a lot of fun making up words. I mean, that's what the
It
nerdatorium
is. And
is.
it's a term that people really understand. And what I find, a lot of what I work with is our A and B stage startups. So early funding rounds, right? And what I see immediately when I talk to a CEO is people are like, yes, that's what I want. I want what we're doing to make sense, but I want it to be out there trying to do something. I cannot deal with another Venn diagram, right? Of the circles and the squares and the whole bit, right? What people want is, emails out the door, sales decks developed, sales meetings booked, and then adjust and optimization, just like we do in affiliate,
Yeah,
right? Nobody gets it right the first time out. And so better to get the first time out in a week than in 6 months.
well said. All right, so exclamation marketing. What do you guys do, and who are you serving out there?
Sure. So I half my business is in affiliate. So I actually work with a couple of the networks to help them tell their stories. I have a big business in writing award entries, as silly as that probably sounds, but awards are very important in our industry to establish companies' credentials in specific markets. I also work with publishers to help them tell their stories a little bit more effectively.
Mhm.
And then outside of affiliate, again, I work with a lot of A stage media and MarTech startups, as well as customer experience startups, to really help them figure out a message that's distinctive and something that people notice and care about. I feel like so much marketing is invisible, especially in B2B. And you as a B2B SaaS expert, I'm sure can respond to that, but so much of it is just wallpaper, right? And so hopefully I'm able to help the clients that I work with tell their stories in ways that are more meaningful.
Excuse me. Usually I put my
It's
mute on.
okay. You got the flu, or
I'm
you had the
coming off
flu,
of
man.
I'm coming off the ASW flu. It was a rough one this year. Almost at every conference I go to, especially of that size, I always come home sick with something. But this one was next level epic, like 104-degree fever, and chills, and it was a gross one. But we're on the mend. We're getting here. I want to get to that question of the day before we get into our main topic here. So let's jump in. Jim, what is your honest take on how AI content generation platform going to affect the smaller affiliate sites out there? Great question.
So I'm going to start with the negative. I usually would start the positive, but in this case, I think there's a danger. The big fear that I have about AI is that it's going to cause this explosion of lousy content out there. And what that's going to mean is
Sure.
consumers can't find the good information that's available, especially from smaller affiliates who may not have the SEO juice that they need in order to rank higher. And so there are going to be a lot of companies that are just, and there already are a lot of companies just producing dreck. And so consumers are going to these websites, finding crap, and then becoming frustrated. And where I see a potential issue is that may reduce the number of places that they look for information. They may go exclusively to a Wirecutter or a Reviewed or something like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but on the entrepreneurial side, there's lots of people who have very, very distinct perspectives, and I don't want them to get lost in the noise. So I'm a little concerned about that. On the positive side, I think the key is going to be making it more efficient to field and measure programs. There's so much manual work still in this industry, and
Mhm.
if we can streamline some of that, then those entrepreneurs can do what they do really well, which is to innovate.
Yes, totally agree on the concept of the negative. Like there is already a lot of garbage out on the internet that was AI generated, and you can read it. Or one of those key tips to look for in an article are dips, dives, and delves. Like if you read those words, you can almost automatically recognize that this was an AI generated piece of content. And I stop reading when I catch one of those words because it'll be in those first couple of paragraphs. I guarantee it.
Really? I'm gonna have
Uh,
to look at that. You know what I've been
look for
seeing
those
is
words.
like lots of websites are putting FAQs at the bottom of the page for SEO juice, but if you read them, the sentence structure is always absolutely the same. So you get like, tell them what you're going to tell them. Here are the 5 points that you tell them, and then here's a summation of the 5 points and what you told them, right? And so it's this incredibly repetitious cycle. But I love this dips something delves and dives.
Dips, dives, delves. Yeah,
Damn,
the three D's there. Watch
Writing
out
that
for them
down.
because I don't know why AI loves those words so much, but it is pretty consistent. So, moving on here, Trisha. She went. What a wonderful opportunity to hear from one of my favorite
Cha!
people. Want perspective? Always talk to Jim. Well, first off, Trisha, rude. Like, how about your favorite two people? Like, just
Well, see, this is what really excited me about this podcast is that I really feel like you come from a different direction in this industry, right? Like fundamentally, I'm a big brand guy that worked advertiser side or agency side, working to deliver enough scale for it to matter to a large company, right? And I feel like
yeah,
you definitely have that experience in your background because it's so diverse, but your spirit is different than mine in that way, in the sense that like you're finding a way. I always say to people, like, I get interviewed a lot for by Wall Street firms about find out about the partnerships industry and so forth, and I'm like,
yeah,
always bet on affiliate people because they get it done, right?
huh,
They make it happen, and like uh affiliate people have this knack for making the impossible possible and making the possible quicker, right?
yeah.
And you have
I
that
mean,
in a big way, like, I can tell you what a lot of big companies are thinking about, but I don't have that in my background. So that's why I was excited about this conversation.
well, and I was excited to have you on. Your experience in this industry is legendary, and I've heard so much about you, and have always heard your opinions loud and clear. And that let's get into it, Jim.
Sure.
Like, I want to get to our topic of the day, and I want you to explain why you came up with this concept of big pubs versus scrappy affiliates. There is a concept that you want to go through here today. Go ahead and explain to the
Sure.
crowd.
So, actually, the impetus for this topic was work that I did many moons ago in the organic food industry. So, if you know organic food, I'm sure some of the people who listen to this will. It was this industry, cottage industry, created by a bunch of people who looked at the food industry and said, you know what, I want to do something different. I want food to be food. I don't want it to be all additives. And so they created quietly this multi-billion-dollar business that was sold in special stores that was separate from the rest of the food industry. The industry, big companies, the industry started looking at their business and they said, well, my margins, especially for center store stuff like food in a box or in a bottle, our margins are bad. Retailer margins are bad. But wait a minute, look over here. We've got this market that's high margin, high growth. We got to get in on that. And so large companies like General Mills, Kellogg's, ConAgra bought up the organic food brands like one after another. And so that industry is now really dominated by big food companies. There's nothing wrong with that. They are able to improve distribution and so forth. But what happens to the little guy? And so I saw a big or I see a big parallel between that process and what's going on in affiliate. Here, the big margins and fast growth are about our ROAS, right? That you get 18-to-1 average ROAS, I believe, in this industry, which is insane. The only thing that gets that kind of level is a house list email where you're only paying for the distribution, right?
For sure.
And so what I see are large companies saying, "Hey, I want a piece of that," and so now affiliate is 20% or roughly of many merchants' investment and spending, and
If you're doing it right.
and
Yeah.
major brands are representing a bigger and bigger and bigger portion of all this. So my fear is that big likes to work with big, right? So big companies like to work with other big companies because they feel understood, and it means fewer partners that they have to do in order to get scale. What I worry about is that what makes this space amazing is that entrepreneurial spirit that is part and parcel of you, but of also thousands of other people in this business who just transform media and transform social and search and all these other markets with their energy. My fear is that large companies will crowd all of that out in favor of a few big media organizations. And so I hope that we can find a way for both groups to work together and for big companies to understand what entrepreneurs are delivering that's different than what might be able to be delivered by a huge publishing house.
Yeah, and it is a hard balance for brands out there that want those big publications more than anything. They know the difference maker that they can be. But if you just alienate from the scrappy affiliates out there, you're missing out on some big opportunities in the future. Those scrappy affiliates might become monster affiliates years down the line. And if you build a relationship with them today, that relationship can flourish in years to come. So they shouldn't be ignored by any means. But your concept is that affiliates, entrepreneurs essentially are being crowded out of this space. Now, tell me more about this theory that you have.
So my suspicion, I don't have data, right? But my suspicion
Okay.
is, well, actually, I do have some data. So private equity
All right.
firms are buying up agencies. Companies
Yeah.
are integrating multiple pure play digital publishing houses so that there are several media companies in our industry that have, 20 or 30 different vertical publications. So one about home improvement, one about apparel, and one about beauty. And that's all great. That's fantastic. But if you are operating your own site, I my fear is that those people will collect more and more. The groups, the holding companies, and so forth are going to capture a larger and larger share of the market. And what that will mean is that these small publishers just simply aren't able to get the attention of the large brands that are really going to dominate in the industry, right? When I also think that if we look at what's happening in the OPM space in affiliate, margins are declining, right? For most agencies, they'll tell you that there's been downward pressure on fees. And what that means typically is that an agency is a very simple machine, if you will. It's a dollar in, a dollar out. We take a little bit, but basically that's how it works, right? If you reduce the fees coming in, you have to reduce the level of innovation and number of partners that you work with in order to make that business economic. Does that make sense?
Following?
Right?
Yeah.
So what that means is eventually, if the fee goes low enough, this is what happened in the regular media space that I operated in. When I started in advertising, we made about 18% commission on uh,
Okay.
on what we're spending, TV, radio, print, etc. Right? By the end of my time in conventional media, that commission rate was down at the 2 or 3% level. What that means is
Hmm.
you get less experimentation, fewer options. You're going to put more money into network TV because it's easy. Three people can buy $1 billion worth of network TV, right? But it takes 300 people to buy $1 billion in digital, right? So if you look at that formula, eventually the pressure is going to be stronger and stronger to work with fewer larger organizations. At least that's my fear.
I gotcha. And the bigger publications have a bigger budget as well, so they can make a good piece of content that already ranks organically pretty quickly. And on top of that, they can buy ad spend to get more traffic to that and feed the beast. Where the scrappy affiliates out there are hoping on organic or social to get that free advertising to their page, or maybe email at the very last possible like level. Um, so
I'm sorry, go ahead.
that's about all I
It's
had
a
for a
great
thought there.
example, I think, because SEO, the major media companies in many categories and affiliate, everybody's so good at SEO that like we reach a certain point where no matter what you do, the order is the order, right? We can move you from 8 to 7 or 7 to 9, depending on what you're doing. But what if you're a small publisher that has a relatively low Google score, right? But amazing content? In theory, they're going to rise over time. But if you think about the way that Google rankings typically work, which is the number of links out there and so forth, it's going to be very hard for an entrepreneur to break in. I look, for instance, at the bed in the box business, right, which exploded over the last 10
Uh,
years, right? There are some
yeah.
amazing entrepreneurs that have made a ton of money developing review sites and explanation sites for that business. Is that opportunity out there in the future in new industries? I hope it is, but I fear that what's going to happen is large media companies are going to dominate there, and the smaller players are going to have more difficult time hitting the critical mass.
Yes, yes, and totally agree. The guys that were on the forefront of that started making that content early, and they started ranking on Google, they got paid out because that industry blew up like it was cool. Now, this next industry, the one I have envisioned, is AI, like the use of AI for businesses and making those suggestions out there to businesses is going to be a big booming industry. And it's one I'm in front of right now. It's the one I'm creating content. I'm building content for B2B SaaS products that businesses can use to improve their workflows. And AI is a big portion of that. And so I'm trying to get that real estate today, and hopefully it benefits me in the future, and I can start living that affiliate dream. But like the only edge I have right now, compared to other big publications, my entrepreneur spirit is utilizing AI wherever I can to help me generate more content, whereas the big publications are still behind the times in this, or using their internal employees to make all of this content, and their workflows are much slower than what I can pound out in terms of content.
I think it's really interesting because, it's this all or nothing world in which we operate, and you're rejecting that model, right? So it seems to me
Yeah.
like there are AI websites where stuff gets published without any review, right? And they're trash because
Yes. Trash.
if you think about the way AI works, it's like, how do I learn from all the rest of the world? So if you do that, you're going to get average or below average content because most content is average or below average, right? The flip side of that is to say, okay, no, we don't want to have AI play any role in what we're doing. We want to be pure, right? And the challenge there is, how do you keep up with trends? How do you keep up producing these things? And so what's interesting to me, intriguing to me, is how you're trying to combine those two, right? It's using AI to help facilitate production, but at the same time ensuring the high quality that personal intervention makes possible.
Yes. And that's my shtick as well for the reviews that I'm doing. I am a human and I am a business owner, and I'm making authentic content based on my experiences with these products. So I sell a software package that is expressing that. And yes, I use AI in different kind of capacities, not necessarily in the content per se, but it is helping expanding my reach with AI, is where that really kicks in after I write the article myself, right, and edit it thoroughly. So I think the bigger companies out there that aren't using that, eventually they're going to start firing people and start adapting to this AI and like start creating more garbage content? Do you think that could be like the future of the big publications?
Well, it could be. Um,
Okay.
I think that the big publications are really conscious that the only thing they have is their brand equity and credibility, right? And so that's why they're
Oh,
taking this kind of all or nothing approach to AI, right? It's like no AI in the production of our content because they want to assure people that what they're doing is authentic and original and so forth. What I'm intrigued about, and this is why I think entrepreneurs are so important in this space, is that you're rejecting both boxes, right? You're rejecting pump it out, AI, AI, AI. There are websites publishing 600 articles a day, right? They're over here, and then you got ones
yeah,
over here where it's going to take 3 months to publish one review article of a product, right? Surely there's a way to combine those two, or at least to use
sure.
AI for amplification, right? Of if you produce one high quality piece of content, right? How do you get the word out about that? How do you get links pointing toward it? I think those are incredibly valuable areas for AI to pursue. I'm sure you're doing that. So you know more than I do about it. I can only think about it, intellectually. You're doing it. You're doing it. So
I am doing it, and yes, I am mixing those both of those worlds and trying to make a good happy medium spot in that space. And that's where I'm winning, but I'm not winning like big pubs are. I'm not living that dream yet. And I hope to get there one day. But why, in your opinion, are big pubs winning over the smaller entrepreneurs today?
well, see, I come back to big likes big, right? And we like big
Okay.
for practical reasons because, again, if you're a large brand, you don't want to deal with 18,000 partners, right? If you can find 18 that can give you the
Okay.
same level of audience, right? And obviously there's nuances to this. I'm oversimplifying that issue. So that's number one, but there's also a lot less risk in working with 18 versus 18,000, right? Fortunately, AI is helping on the compliance side too, so you can work with more publishers and so forth safely. Um, the other reason I think that they're doing well is that there's a lot of concern out there that um, many affiliate sites are pay for play, right? And we both know there are many sites like that, right? That,
Yeah.
oh, what a coincidence. This review site puts this bed that offers the highest commission at the top of the list, right? But the real entrepreneurs in this space don't do that, right? They're offering something that's unique and providing a different perspective that a large publication simply can't do, which I think is really valuable. And if we think about your B2B SaaS space, right, it's very difficult for most publications to specialize in an area like that, right? It's just not going to work for them. But you can be the leader in that space because you're staking it out early and developing that bank of content now. So the way entrepreneurs have to do this is by constantly reinventing what they're doing. I think, right, that large publications are always going to be followers because they have to be, right? In order for something to be profitable for a large publication, it has to appeal to a lot of people. Well, are there a lot of people for whom B2B SaaS affiliate content is appealing? I'm sure the number is growing, but I think probably a lot of people don't know it's out there, right? They're using G2 as their primary way of
Yeah.
learning about things.
Which is notorious for selling the top spots and selling leads. Like it's
I didn't know that. So I knew that they did sold the leads. I did know that. I thought that there was like
absolutely.
a, that the ranking was ultimately determined by the ratings, but I
Well,
guess I'm
I
not
mean,
shocked.
perhaps the ranking could be, but like you can't easily go to that brand's without them being a customer. So what I mean by that,
Yeah,
like they create the list and then they reach out to all those companies and say, hey, we want to pitch you on the top and we want to make it an easy lead form fill to come see you. And if they say no, we don't want to do that, they stay in that free model. But the ones that do say yes, they get the leads that are coming to all of those. So uh, there is
I totally get that. Yeah, yeah. Imagine how that
it's its
works.
own model. I mean, they're smart. They know what they're doing. It's just it's not as authentic as I wish the internet would be.
I'm also concerned about the way that Amazon is changing because I think Amazon and Amazon only brands were a great place for entrepreneurs to be. But it seems like it's easier and easier for large companies to work with Amazon than small ones because of the way that the logistical costs get applied, right? It's very expensive to have Amazon do your fulfillment, especially if you're small fry, right?
Yeah,
If you're a challenger brand.
yeah,
So
they are
that I
expensive.
think is also going to stifle innovation.
For sure. All right. We got another question here. Trisha asks, how does the rise of AI generated content jive with the FTC's increased focus on going after reviews that are not genuinely from users who use the product? Such a
I wish that we could pop a third screen up here with Trisha because she's a lawyer, right? Um, I think this comes back to this issue that a lot of content out there is going to be crap produced by machine without human oversight, without human involvement. And I hope the FTC, frankly, does get more aggressive about it. I'm not super optimistic because I think government tends to move slower than fraud,
Yep.
right? That I feel like we're always passing laws that would be great if they had been passed 3 years ago when the issues that they're confronting were originally raised. What
Yeah.
do you think? This to me is a really interesting one for you as somebody who's really sorry, I'm going to switch turn the tables on you.
Shoot. I obviously I follow FTC rules as much as possible, and sometimes it gets forgotten on pieces of content. Luckily, I have affiliate managers come to me and recognize that and help me realize where I did miss it. Trisha, feel free to drop the link to the PMA's discussion about whether content is owned by the publisher or the AI generated content like itself. That was a really good bit by the PMA and very eye opening. But
This is really interesting to because a lot of those FTC rules are about influencers, right? And to
yeah,
me, the FTC is reacting to the idea that there are influencers that are pay to play. And what we've almost moved on to at this point is influencers that don't exist, right?
mm,
Influencers that are computer generated,
yeah,
right? And so I almost wish I believe in what the FTC is trying to do and making sure that people who endorse things actually believe in them and use them. I do believe in that, right? But I think honestly, the bigger issue is going to be fake influencers.
yeah. How are you going to capture them? Like, where are you gonna? Who's going to pay for those fake influencers? I don't know. Um,
No, no, and as there's consolidation now in the influencer network space, but I mean, there's going to need to be some curation there, and part of that is going to be AI curating AI or trying to uncurate it, I guess, if
yeah.
you would.
And I don't want to put a big target on my back, but if FTC was to go after smaller folks just trying to make a living, it would scare a lot more people. I feel like in this industry, if they go after those giant publications, um, that could raise a lot of awareness. But like, I just don't see a place where they're going to go after somebody that's making $5,000 a month off of like commissions, right?
Well, I agree with that, and I also think that people are making $5,000. Their intent is generally positive, right? If you're
Yeah,
making 5,000 a year in influence, it's because you love to write about a topic, right?
sure.
It would not be a good use of your time to apply AI, like create an AI infrastructure to make 5 grand, right?
No,
Where it's going to be a bigger issue is bigger voices, and when we start seeing celebrities pumping out content via AI for their endorsements, right? That's going to be a very different thing. I don't think the FTC is really trying to get people. Patricia may disagree with this, but to me, what they're saying is we all know what we're supposed to be doing, right? Let's do that, right? I think about, third party cookie deprecation. We all get, oh my God about it. Well, we did this to ourselves by
yeah.
abusing the data, right? And so let's figure out a way that we can deliver value to the customer in an authentic way. Imagine.
Yeah. I mean, Off topic here. I think we beat that up enough, but like, mark my words, in 2024, some celebrity influencer is going to get their account hacked, and somebody is going to turn AI on to show their face promoting some kind of brand that they are not actually promoting, and a video will look like they are promoting this, and I anticipate it going viral, and I just anticipate somebody making a complete joke out of it. In fact, like a brand that won't make any sense for that person.
I love it. I love that idea, right? I think we're already seeing, like, if you're a political junkie, right? Just seeing, Trump denying that he did certain things over the last few years. It's all deep fake. It's all deep fake videos, right?
Yes.
Like, we are going to be in for several, I don't know how it ends, but we're going to be in for several years of like, what on earth am I looking at? Is it real? Is it not real? I have no idea.
Right. All right. Charlie comes up and says, "What comes first, the article or the ad?" Oh, chicken and the egg. I like it, Charlie. Do the big pubs prioritize editorial content or potential ad earnings on the content, or do they choose to create? I'll answer this while you think about
Yeah.
it, Jim. As a creator, I pick a topic first that I am enthusiastic about. Then I start writing that content, and then I do the research on the brands that I think would really be a fit as a good suggestion for this. And usually it's a top three situation. If I already have a brand in place that I really like, I'm always going to bring in two alternatives to that as well. So I do my research on top of it, and then I go and join their affiliate programs individually. And that brings up the point of like, you know, networks don't. I don't join networks to join networks. I join networks just to go join that one program that I want to be a part of necessarily. So that's my methodology. I don't know if you have something different in mind.
Well, if we think about this space, right, this idea of commercial content, a lot of the major publications, at least, don't offer ads, right? That they
Okay.
deliver, like Reviewed, for instance, right? You read a reviewed review, there aren't ads in it, right? It's supposed to be about the content itself. That I think is going to change over time as we get more used to the idea of this space. I think right now companies are trying to move relatively slowly and saying, let's not take down the wall between editorial and commerce. Let's keep it there.
Okay.
But over time, companies are constantly looking for more and more ways to make money. And the more money that Google and Amazon and Meta suck out of the industry, the faster companies are going to have to move.
Beautiful. I love it. All right, Jim. Moving on. Let's talk about how small brands and publishers can compete in this new world. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, it's funny because I'm looking at the list. I have a little list that I made, right? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at them and I almost say, look at your business, your personal business, right? Because to me, the keys are having a unique target and vertical, right?
Okay.
So, for instance, for you, it's B2B SaaS, right? There
Yep.
aren't 127 people vying for those dollars, right? The next one to me is focusing on those specialty or niche audiences, right? That if an audience is huge, it's going to be very hard for an entrepreneur in today's environment to become one of the leaders in that space. Doesn't mean that they couldn't have a good business, but attracting big audiences is what publications do, right? Large publications do. Serving emerging verticals. So I look at affiliate, auto, B2B, CPG would all be great places for entrepreneurs to be to figure out how to serve those better. To be a first mover in a new channel. I'm kind of intrigued by what's happening in Reddit as we see more and more affiliate programs kind of organically penetrating the world of Reddit. That to me is an example there. I'm excited about tech integration, like integrated commerce. So entrepreneurs are going to probably be the first ones that move on allowing a customer to transact on their pages, right? I just think big companies will be slower to do that because big companies are slower.
Yeah.
Um,
Lots of red tape to like make those things happen where small entrepreneurs can get it done in a day.
Yeah, exactly. And don't need I'm not saying that there's a security risk, but they don't need to send this to a security team that has no idea what affiliate marketing is and will take 7 months to, here's the review of this particular technology will come out of the tower.
Yeah.
And then to me, it's like it's about high quality content, right? And how do you produce content that people are going to want to do? So long form is something that I think large publications do well. Video less well,
Mm.
right? Short form content less well. I could see someone really coming in and developing a new way of delivering content that could really catch on with people, that would spark interest. So it's working around the edges, which is what entrepreneurs are always doing. I just think it's going to be a little harder. That was a long answer. Apologies, but
No, I think it resonates really well. The small brands should be working with the smaller publishers and growing with them, and that's going to be um, they're not going to be difference makers immediately, but you can grow that trust with them and their audience, and then keep replicating that audience as well. You want diversification in your affiliate program with the
you
influence
do.
you have. It is much harder to work with 100 affiliates that give you one sale than it is to work with one that gives you 100. But the satisfaction of that and the gambling aspect of it is something that appeals to me a lot more, because one of those 100 affiliates might turn into a monster that sells 1,000 a month in the future. So uh,
Totally.
I would rather gamble working with the smaller publishers in that kind of capacity.
And we've been talking about small publishers, but I love your point about small brands, right? That like suppose you could now launch the 119th bed in a box company, right?
Mhm.
Do you want to be ad number 119 on that page? Because I'm guessing a lot of people won't get down to that, right? But if you've got a niche and you can find partners that are in a similar niche, right? You can be number one. You can get past the huge brands and say, you know what, for you, customer, this is the perfect product for you. And that partner will be able to work more closely with you because frankly you'll have time to deal with them. That's the other thing we have to think about in all this, right? If a large brand has 400 partners, they're going to pay strong attention to what, 10, 15, 20, right? All the rest are going to get a monthly newsletter, right? Which is a very different thing. Whereas a smaller entrepreneur can say, I care about all my brands. I really want to bring focus to them and help them. And here's an original idea for you. The first bed made of, I don't know, oat flakes. This is how we can tell a story that's really powerful and will resonate with my audience. It's what's exciting about creators, but you don't need to be a creator to do this. You can be more of a bona fide publisher.
Yeah, that's a great recurring revenue model there, an oat flakes bed that you can eat, so you can
Yeah.
throughout time. You just warm it up every day, and you wake up and you just roll over and
I
eat your
somehow
bed.
see sanitary issues, but what do I know? What do I know? I guess the point to me being, that's what small brands should do, but I think also large brands should be constantly looking out in the world, or their agencies and networks should be looking out in the world and saying, "Wow, this thing over here that Dustin's doing, that's unique. That's different. It may not be huge yet, but we should try it, right?" Or,
Absolutely.
here's somebody that's playing with, I don't know what, 6-second TikTok videos, right? That's really doing something interesting. Like you need to be trying those things. And I think if big brands do that, they're going to see a lot more potential in this market and can also test a lot of things that you can't test with a conventional media program. That's what's great about affiliate is little experiments, are so easy for us to do. And someone like you is going to make sure that those experiments go well.
Yeah. Well, our theme today was scrappy entrepreneurs out there, and my sponsor of the day is me. I created a new package, dustinhouse.com/SaaS package. This is me doing B2B reviews, authentic, and it is a package that I sell for a flat fee plus affiliate commissions. If you are a B2B SaaS product or a SaaS product in general in the AI space, hit me up, take a look, see if it's of interest to you. Outside of that, Jim, this has been a pleasure. Like, we ran out of time, but how do we connect with you moving forward here, Ben?
You can send me an email at jim@exclamationusa.com, and I respond quick. I'm usually sitting right here. So, it's my own little entrepreneurial world, right? If I'm awake, I'm working. I'm sure that sounds very familiar to you. But again, jim@exclamationusa.
Awesome. And my lesson of the day that I picked up here is entrepreneurs and scrappy entrepreneurs out there are not going to be killed by big pubs. Like, I think the concept of big publications not adapting to AI will change this year, and AI will eliminate some of those jobs in big publications. And then that is just going to breed more entrepreneurs, because those people that have been working at those big publications a long time are going to become those scrappy affiliates and go out there and attack niches. And so I think it's going to be a turn. Like, big publications are going down while scrappy affiliates are going up this year. I'm confident in it. I'm rooting for them, at least.
I think we all should be. Not
Yeah.
the going down part, but the going up part.
Absolutely. How about everybody going up? Rising tides. Huh? How about that shit?
That's it. Perfect. Thank you
All right.
so much.
Join me on Thursday, 11:15. This is a double episode, weirdly enough. 11:15, me and Kristen Big Time Evans is going to do a affiliate summit recap. Join us for that at 11:15 here on LinkedIn Live. And then at 12:15, I'm going to be hanging out with Jacob at Beehive and talking newsletters. So stop by for that. Without further ado, Jim, really appreciate you being here. Thanks for being in the Nerdatorium, and we'll see you out there next time, man.
Thanks for the opportunity. Really appreciate it. Love your perspective.
Awesome. Take care, y'all.
Bye.